Okay, hi. So I thought what fun it would be to read my crazy case as a way to start 2024. So this Italian military jacket from Sportsman's Guide, roughly 20 to 30 bucks. I donated to a homeless person, found it in quite a huge amount of disrepair, and I spent hours sewing buttons back on and stitching up the lining where so it has like special energy to me because I often give things away and get them back because of the cycle in poverty. But I just thought I should read you my whole case or show you my whole case file. For instance, I really have to start with the tote bag because, wow, this is one of my favorite ways to have sort of like a briefcase or an attaché case, but it's actually like a beverage picnic cooler tote where you could take it like to like a picnic. Let's say Parthenon at the Parthenon in Nashville. What do they call that park? Centennial Park, like somewhere like that where you might go to Shakespeare in the Park or something lovely. So it's brand new, cooler tote is full of my case file. So if they were gonna put on the god awful cabaret mystery musical, who done it? Who done it? Okay, so here's some clippings. That's not really that relevant right now. Let's see. Oh, heavens to Betsy. Let's just start with the fun stuff. Stephen Klein, Steve at Bar Klein, October 31, 2023, 6:06 a.m. Re-Ang docs, Google Drive links to MRL Ang. Mary, I'm sorry for the tardy response. Some business about ProHack. Let's see. If you can be assigned a public defender, I may be able to work with him or her, drafting a short argument as to the law's constitutionality at this point, and that in any event, your recording was a legal one-party recording of a telephone call. Steve Klein, Bar and Klein, DC. Okay, so that was kind of like I had it. The thing is like when you respect somebody, you don't want to bother them, okay? So everybody who's texting me 24/7, when you respect them, you want them to like be able to function. So, oh wow, I have so many copies. Whoops, I didn't get to scan that into the case file because they dang dropped it. Woohoo! And here's my little party flag to celebrate how this whole case is homophobic. Because really it was all about policing gender expectations of how an alleged female is allowed to accept wannabe alpha male authority. Okay, so look at this. And kudos to the Catholic Church for recycling these. I like conveniently dumpstered them after your rummage sale. And well, this one, oh, okay, so this is the really good stuff. This is State of Oregon, order and judgment for dismissal. It is hereby ordered and adjudged. Bo Peterson, thank you, darling. Am I allowed to say that? Was that harassment? Ugh. And so what was the whole like Alex Thomas, poor thing, stuck in there doing this like tedious. So I mean, the 27th day of October, this whole thing, I kept using the word malinger when I would be writing my like free-flowing letters. And then I looked this up. I'm like, why am I using this word? Malinger is a medical term in which you feign an illness. And this whole case was like so fake that I was like, aha, that's why my brain is like viewing this as like DA's like I got the flu or something. And I'm like, are you sure you have the flu? Are you sure you want me to bring you mashed peas? It is in the best interest of justice. Oh, heavens. Well, it says they emailed, but he forgot. It's okay. It's okay. Okay. So now this is one of the last fun things I did when it was sort of like the finale showstopper, like all the fireworks at the end of the 4th of July. This note undoubtedly came from a dumpster. This came from Mr. Carge. Oh, dear heavens. Oh, dear heavens. Oh, this was sort of like, yeah, this was one of my last folders. Ooh. Okay, let's just put that here. Oh, and it's a picture of Bobby to keep me positive, being attacked at Occupy Wall Street. Occupy. Woohoo. Yeah, nobody's a perfect person. In-person hearing. Okay, let's just forget about that. Oh, what do we have here? Complainant. Bureau of Labor and Industries. Discrimination. Oh, okay. Okay, more of that. What do we have here? Oh, great. Oh, I was going to throw that into the mix if necessary. That's some, oh, the holy moly, the lifeboat guy putting his hand around my throat without my permission and violating my consent. Okay. Let's see, what do we have here? No contact letter, August 31, 2022. So what I just found out from the HUD best practices for congregate shelter is that the whole thing Ozark does where he just picks on someone and kicks them out is against HUD best practices. Housing and Urban Development best practices for congregate shelter are that you should first get a verbal correction, then get a series of hi, Bobs. Oh, I'm explaining my whole damn court case, darling. This was going to be a marathon that goes on for hours. Now I feel like unbelievable. Okay. Hope it's the real Bobby. Anyway, now I'm so derailed. Okay. Oh, okay. So Joshua Stellman. Okay, so Jack, who's like decided I'm his sister, wants to set me up on a date with Joshua. Joshua, I don't assume you're single. And you're not my type. I really don't care for brunette white guys. If one must deal with men. However, he did agree with me we need to set up a legal defense fund for homeless camping tickets because we have a runaway carriage with camping tickets going crazy. So much so that CBH cannot find their clients. I love you too, Bobs. So CBH cannot find their clients to get them treatment, to get them socks, to check on their welfare, check on their well-being, their mental health. So the homeless are being pushed deeper into the shadows. Some of us don't know where. We don't know if they're dead. We don't know where they are, but maybe they don't want another round of 250 tickets. So Mr. Stellman's lovely August 19th letter. Let's see, maybe I separated these out. Yeah, there's an extra copy if you need one. Oh, okay. So he basically refuses to believe the lived experience. Well, anyway, so the fact that Josh and I can talk about the need for protective. So this one was the funny one. This is not a case of lifeboat burying its head in the sand in hopes this goes away. And this was like, oh, but I already sent you one cease and desist, and like you're not satisfied, so I gotta write you a second cease and desist. And then this was like, this is my final cease and desist. And I'm like, okay, that's on you. That's your creative writing project. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, Clatsop County Communications, Boley. Okay, what's this? One of my favorite letters was the July 28th letter to Bo from when I looked him up years ago, trying to do the astrology on all my court officials. I found out that was his birthday, if I remember correctly, and it's harder to look that stuff up because the internet's always changing. But I do remember him to be a July Leo, like me, so sort of like, happy birthday, Bo. He was looking a little frustrated because that's about the time that James von Buckman quit. So what is this? Order for dismissal of oh yeah, they have this like fee they were trying to assess me. I was like, okay. So what is this? This is order for alternative dispute resolution via restorative justice. And when I had this moment, I was like, aha, this is it. Because this case arose because Lifeboat did not follow the four-pronged HUD best practices for excluding someone. They did not follow any anti-whistleblower, like anti-retaliation policy. They just do executive speed lining to like a totalitarian style of punitive exclusions with no sense of justice, no right of appeal. So after you get your verbal, then you get your written, a few like a series of three warnings, and then you get excluded, and then you have a right of appeal. And Kirk Wintermute wasn't into giving right of appeal, which is totally unfair. But he's young. Okay, here's a case summary. Oh, this is just disgusting. Oh my goodness. But I mean, in a way, it was kind of such an educational experience. I kind of look at it differently now. Motion to dismiss. Two. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. All right. Okay, so then this is for my comprehension because I'm like figuring out what type of organization works for me. I would like kind of like write on the outside of the folder what's in this folder, okay? So Naked Mike, this cool dude, I know he like came up to me and was like, "So I heard you're as smart as a lawyer and you totally won in your case." And then somebody else came up and was like, "Yeah, I heard you got Ozark arrested like multiple times and that you're like smart as a lawyer or something." She said the same thing, and this was on Thanksgiving. So this is the clothing voucher that I got prosecuted for trying to get the domestic violence services to deal with this aggressive male who runs the soup kitchen in Astoria to get him to give me some clothing because it's really not fair for him to pull a fat salary off low income people and deny low income people services. Um, Somebody I know at CBH has gone so far to call it embezzlement. Not going to say who. Oh yes. Oh, and this is great. This is a favorite. Well, this is where it was getting fun because I was like, "Come on, guys, you're not pulling this over on me." This was the Defender Crisis. Some lovely articles from Stephanie Volan, and I'm really proud of her because she's kind of like a very highly specific law blogger who does a lot on corruption at the Oregon State Bar in multiple counties, and I believe she lives out of state, which is probably best for her safety. So she has just like really unique takes, and she does a lot of records requests. So she has a lot of really great research incorporated into her journalism. So I was kind of like, let me share with you one of my favorite bloggers because when I found her, it was just like Christmas. I was like, oh, she's so smart. So what is this? Oh, so this is like a little minor, let's just call this a micro stalker. This little guy is this sort of like dweeb who runs the webpage for the nonprofit, who it turns out was like emailing Ozark. She's doing this. She's doing this. She's saying this online and like monitoring my internet activities, which is like, no, wait a minute. I already have enough stalkers. But he just is like a chain smoker and he's really socially maladapted. And the whole controversy kind of really started when I asked Aaron to take my picture off their Facebook. Since they were doing so much violence and drugs and everything, I was like, I don't want to be associated with that. And that like really offended. And then they didn't even take me off the website. And I ran into the web designer. I was like, dude, can you take me off? It's not your fault. You're not like the violent guy. But okay, so what's this? Ooh, medical history. So where this whole delightful case was going was towards an 8 and a 6. I was gonna pull a Luke Meehee for like 2 effing years if oh wow, stop weaponizing hunger. Anthony Blinken, yo. What is he, like the main dude at NATO or something? He was like, stop weaponizing hunger. Yeah, Ozark, stop hurting people by starving them. And I was really haunted today because I saw Erin out there walking her beautiful baby. I was like, who that she lets around the sex offender lifeboat. I was like, I had said this. I was like, if you did this to animals, it would be considered animal abuse. So why do you treat humans this way? Or like you're treating humans worse than you could get away with treating animals. And even like putting them in a sort of overcrowded kennel. Like somebody I knew in Portland was calling it like kennel rot or something, like these sicknesses that, oh heavens, this is so horrible. This is like, I would read you the whole letter, but it's voluminous is how Alexander pronounced. I say voluminous. but he says voluminous. I like his pronunciation. But he's like, "Yes, Your Honor, she has voluminous." Because it was like, "Yeah, you want me to pull some Tolstoy on you? Because I cannot stop telling you what a load of crap this case is." But anyway, so by 8:17, Bo was like getting removed from the case and they were like moving it to this outside judge. And I think it was a little bit like, I got real work, y'all. Can you move your like witch trials out of my court? I don't know why they moved it. And this is when Bo like comes out of the courthouse kind of like laughing, like, whoa, you just handed it back to them because they were clearly lying and evidence they tried like faked evidence they tried to submit their little like faked backdated grievance process. Oh, Ron Maxted letter. That's nice. He wanted me to be on the board of the non-existent shelter that got demolitioned. And boy, did Dwayne Blair get his revenge for being assaulted at Lifeboat. It's like so tragic that the homeless are basically just in tents and doorways and really cold. Okay, so then this was like a content. You can see my graphic design skills are like from 1982 or something. Not even. Day 469, excluded from Lifeboat. Courtroom 300, Clatsop County. Celebrate diversity, inclusion, power to the people, low barrier, harm reduction, housing first, trauma informed, survivor centered, be a part of the change, food not bombs. Because like the whole thing, filling empty bellies, I donated stuff to I helped with before even Ozark was in town. So it's like this whole thing where he acted like he owned it and it was a copyrighted trademarked thing. Oh, that's neat. That's their big bankroll, which they just submitted their 22 stats. If anybody wants to see what they're claiming is in their war chest, it's like $200,000. So while you guys don't even have a decent tent, they got $200,000. To me, that's a crime. I'd be like, spend every penny down and get some credit and spend more until people have humanity, like dignity. This is not about buying a house, Ozark, or inflating your salary to 62,500 or something. Oh wow. Oh, chat, OpenAI. So Patrick Stopful, thank you, got me into checking out the chat bot stuff. I was like, yeah, I'll get to it later, right when it was getting really trendy. But I had fun with it, and then I would like put little queries into it and then contemplate it. I even considered scanning a bunch of it openly as chat law, like chat AI, artificial intelligence law, kind of to prove a point that, because a lot of lawyers will they're basically getting in trouble for using it and then not disclosing that what it is, that it's like a robot doing your law for you. But I never got around to that, but I thought about it because I thought it would be kind of like a fun twist on like, hey, guess what? Robots can do this better than humans. But sometimes, but it did give me some kind of a lot. What I really actually liked when I'd like say write a letter to a judge demanding exculpatory evidence was the way the chat AI was very good with like the very prettiness of like respectfully submitted, or I hope this letter reaches you in good health, or like all these like contrived politeness things that are sort of out of use. Oh, certificate of readiness. Okay, that's just like so boring. Oh, that's Clarence's letter for me. I recognize his handwriting. Sweetheart. Thank you, Clarence. Clarence letter, the letter of recommendation. Which actually, when I was chilling with my LA prosecutor defense attorney down in Los Angeles in 2007, he was working on a defense for a baseball bat murder. So he basically, because I had this really strong interest in law, he was like allowing me to like shadow him as he showed me. That's why I call him mentor, but like he would show me how he would file the case. But letters of reference were very important for the other one, which was an accessory to a drive-by shooting. And he was actually in the paper, like in the LA Times before I was born, in these pictures about how he was sort of modernizing policing in the 1970s. Stephen Schwartz, he was like, always reminded me of the professor from Back to the Future, just like zany and boisterous and a genius and just like amazing. oh, this was sort of my jackpot. And then I had this like aha moment because, okay, Robert Yitzi, thanks to you, who he was his own pro se representative in his getting knocked unconscious by an SUV while he was riding a bike. And the clatsop DA out of COVID was like, hey, let's just prosecute you for riding a bike after you had a beer or two and call you a DUI and let this lady just kind of completely go. Even though she said on the stand, I think I killed him. I thought I killed him. So anyway, he was like, are you doing your Google Scholar? Which thanks Barry Joe Stoll. I know very much about the Google Scholar. Maybe I learned that in paralegal school a little bit too, but I was like, okay, I'll do some legal research. I was not happy about it. And then sure enough, I found this like jackpot case, which basically goes into let's see, where is it? Oh boy, this was a long case and it was so gory. Oh my gosh. See, one party consent exception to the prohibition on listening into a telephone conversation. Yeah, the example of a police officer listening in on a ransom call in a kidnapping case as a reason why the one party consent exception to the prohibition on listening to a telephone conversation was necessary. So basically, it showed a situation in which there was a complex call with multiple people on the line and why one party consent is helpful. So, what is this? Huh. What day was that? Okay, let's see. Okay, this is fun. We're making it through. Oregon Rules of Professional Conduct 3.3. Thank you, Michael Strickland. I got that from researching on your YouTube channel where you were getting the Multnomah District Attorney in trouble for their little problematic behaviors. And that is basically what's so important is candor to the tribunal. A lawyer shall not knowingly make a statement of fact or law to a tribunal or fail to correct a false statement of material fact or law previously made to the tribunal. So, because they were submitting falsified evidence, it would have been the duty of the prosecutor to go before a judge and say, hey, by the way, it has come to light that this is a backdated document. It contradicts an email written on a certain day, blah, blah, blah. And then the bully investigator actually thought that that document was concocted by Ozark and not Aaron, which I thought it was concocted by Aaron, maybe be due to the handwriting or gender prejudice with handwriting. But I think it might have also been falsified as to who wrote it. It was just quite awkward. And this is the one where they were trying to say that I'm high and out of my mind, which was also rather unprofessional. Ooh, that's a phone for me. I should get that. Do you want to be on a video stream? Yeah, I'm reviewing my whole case of how Ozark was trying to get me in trouble for going to the domestic violence center. They have. How are you doing? I'm not ending my stream, okay? So I'm still online, but I'm being live blogged onto my YouTube. I don't know. Does that make you feel weird? Do you want to get off the phone?
Well, I just wanted to know if it was Tuesday morning or Monday night.
Oh, I think it's Monday night. It says so on my laptop. I'm for sure. Okay.
I just woke up and I can't tell which is which, but I'm gonna let you go.
Okay. Talk to you later. Okay, have a good night. Bye. Okay, so okay, let's wait on that. Now I'm having so much fun, and what this shows is how much fun you can have with paper. This guy was like a very expert jailhouse lawyer who offered to help me. Let's put that right there. I don't know where that goes. Woo, request for an in-person court hearing, because I was like, don't put me on your little, I call it e-fascism, but it's like this electronic industrialized court procedure they have, because they basically don't have enough judicial officers, enough judicial rooms. They don't want to get COVID. they don't really care about. Ooh, wait a minute. Ooh, that's grisly. This is actually pertaining. Should I put that over there? I should. And this was denied by Macintosh. This is 22, and this is. I feel safer in a courtroom with a sheriff's deputy present. I am aware that members of Lifeboat may want to attend this hearing and welcome open court procedures towards decorum and transparency. I do not want any inadvertent trauma to be distributed to Lifeboat clients by use of their computer for WebEx to influence other victims of gender based crimes. So basically, I was concerned that Lifeboat was supporting perpetrators of gender based violence in protective order proceedings, which is just pukey. Where did that go? I thought that was the red folder, but that's the bully. Okay, where is it? Wait. Oh, yellow? No. Yellow, blue? No. A different red folder? No. Yes, okay, there. We'll go put that right in that file there. It's not yellow. Okay, so I love this. I call this hot text because certain people really supported me or justice or like all the women that got kicked out of and hurt by Lifeboat or bullied or men, for instance, like Adam. But I wanted to protect their identity a little bit, because hello, retaliation. This guy's crazy, right? He's going to send people to threaten to stab you and then take pictures and put himself on Facebook with the person who threatened to stab you the very next day. That's like how cartel. I mean, actually, the girl from Cartel Jalisco Nueva Generacion is on the advisory board of Beacon Clubhouse. I mean, you pretty much have to have been a drug dealer to be involved with Lifeboat. So she's like, I lit his ass up back in 2020 and he had Erin answer me, or she did on her own. Either way, I wasn't going to let him be an asshole to me and not say anything. He's such a fake ass piece of shit. He kept claiming he had the grants, the space, the codes, blah, 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 to run a shelter where, well, it's been 3 years, bro. Where the fuck is the shelter? Nothing, right, Ozark? Because you just want the limelight for a moment for the historian. He's so transparent. I'm so sorry, Mary. It's super corrupt, and I'm proud of you for recording him. Okay, then this is a list of what Ozark called me in his little love letter to Kenny Hansen. She's abusive, predatory, sociopath, narcissistic, self-serving, and arrogant. So that's APS, abusive, predatory, sociopath, narcissistic, self-serving, arrogant. And I'm like, where do you get these words? This is so like pop culture psychology YouTube 101. Like, well, I know he got predatory from me, okay? Because he must have been watching my channel. I don't know. That's not. Is that open? What is that? It's probably just a reschedule. Oh, okay. See, and isn't this fun? What if every lawyer would like fight as hard as I fought pro se? Then maybe you get a bunch more cases dismissed. Let's see. What is this? Oh, that's. Oh, judge on board, conflict of interest, non-prosecution, drug offenses. Yeah, so it's like more concern about Kirk Wintermute having this dual role of like prosecuting homeless people for petty offenses like trespassing or having a shopping cart or even drug offenses. Okay, so this is fun. Okay, this is 9/5. So we're moving into September with this like never-ending case. And at this point, I just kind of felt like I was humiliating Peterson by even roping him into this disgraceful case. So I was like, dear judge, like whoever's my judge, hypothetical judge, please accept these documents into the file in this case in support of my motion to dismiss. Number 1, letter from John Weedell, Helmut John. Number 2, Project Veritas versus Schmidt 2020 complaint. Number 3, Tech Dirt article about a bullied teenager who recorded his bullies and faced charges. Finally, someone acts like an adult District attorney drops charges against bullied teen who recorded his tormentors. 4. And furthermore, just, side note, the chief of police had asked me to report Ozark before I recorded him, okay? And I was like, well, I already did a bully. That's probably more appropriate. And I reported him to his baby mama. And okay. 4. Request for women discriminated against by lifeboat to get food. Okay. 5. Letter to judge's assistant and prosecution about contradictory evidence protecting me from encounters or dealings with Ozark, Iraq, and likely backdated write up calling me higher out of my mind, re ORPC 33, re candor to the tribunal, also including information about Ozark, Iraq, threatening me with false charges to extort silence from me about his sexually harassing the homeless. Boy, that's going to be a big crowd pleaser with the jury, right? 6. Letter from Harbor Director 83123 stating she would waive no contact provision and that was never discussed with her, nor would she want to implement or enforce it. She states I am welcome to use the harbor and she is sorry I'm going through this experience. Okay. Helmet John letter. I love this. It's so cute. To the legal and medical authorities of Astoria, Oregon, I, John Weddell, do attest that to the best of my knowledge, Ms. Mariang is a legal and dedicated member of our community, and she deserves a lot better. August 30th, 2023. Veritas complaint, which is, ooh, I love this. This is so fun. I'm having a blast, y'all. Okay. What's all this, like, Oregon rules of professional conduct? I literally had just gone to the print shop. I was sitting outside the First Baptist Church on the phone with Stephen Klein. And I see Bo Peterson from a distance going to lunch, and I'm like, do you know who I'm on the phone with? This is dope. I was like, it's easier to get an attorney in DC than Oregon. Oregon is just such a shambles. Okay, movie cards, but no, it was like versus Michael Schmidt and Ellen Rosenblum. Oh, this is fabulous. This was fabulous. This was so fun. I hope we can do it again next year, Ron. Can you think of something? I swear, I've already tipped you off that I could be a jaywalker or a dumpster diver. I'm ready for it. August 19 letter to Katie Dannon and Alex Thomas. Re-candor and backdated documents. And this is because there was a reschedule, and I was kind of like, well, okay, well, we get this reschedule going. Like, can we figure out why they're submitting falsified evidence? So this was kind of critical. This is 19 August. We're still in Leo. In regards to ORPC, and I got it all messed up because I was going ORCP. Okay. 333, candor towards the tribunal. Will the judge be notified of contradictory email 51922 from Aaron Carlson praising me, promising to prevent further encounters or dealings with Ozark, telling me I am welcome and valued, contradicting a handwritten document most likely backdated to the date 51922, calling me high or out of my mind? And I think actually Kirk Wintermute might be in on this, or Josh Stellman, but they're like, oh, here, create a paper trail as to why you kicked her out. Backdate this document. I'm like, dude, bogus. Glenn was like, is bogus a legal term? And I was like, yes, it's a legal term. To support Ozark Iraq's demonization agenda and submitted to the DA in the discovery packet. If indeed Aaron Carlson has submitted backdated documents, I do not want her to be in trouble for falsifying evidence to the courts or police, but I do find that to be a serious issue affecting my defense and the legitimacy of this action. So I didn't want her to go get in trouble just because Ozark's like, here, quick lie, or Kirk was like, here, quick lie. And Brandon Reeves, from his assessment of this strange document, thought Ozark wrote it. But my friend Clarence, who knows them both well, when he was the first person I viewed this document with when I got my discovery packet, he was like, Aaron wrote that. Aaron wrote that. But if she wrote it and said, like, tried to credit Ozark, it's just not clear. on the document because it's like this sort of faked up form. Anyway, please see my submissions from 8/17/23 in regards to this issue and a list of documents I wanted to highlight to all parties. Will the tribunal be notified that Ozark, Iraq was threatening me with false allegations and a false prosecution based on lies in the recording? And that his attempt to threaten to lie to authorities was hanging over my head for over a year and could be construed to constitute an act of extortion. Thank you, Glenn Noons in California, for helping me comprehend this, to silence me about his sexual innuendo to the homeless women. And that's a okay. So I eventually filed the ORS for coercion with the court, kind of just to remind them threatening false charges to intimidate someone into silencing them as a whistleblower is itself a crime that somebody should face accountability for. And I worry that if these credibility issues are not, and I hate that word, I do, but I worry that if these credibility issues are not promptly discussed with the tribunal, the ORPC may be in violation. And then I just quote it. Rule 3.3 candor to the tribunal. A lawyer shall not knowingly make a false statement of fact or law to a tribunal or fail to correct a false statement of material fact or law previously made to the tribunal by the lawyer. Fail to disclose to the tribunal legal authority. It's great. I could just read it. Conceal or fail to disclose to a tribunal. And this is thanks to Mike Strickland for helping me find this code, engage in other illegal conduct. Okay. District Attorney drops charges against bully teen who recorded his tormentors. Tector 2014. It's great. Okay. Oh, did I give them my only copy? It looks like it. Oops. Instagram post. What is this? Oh, I even submitted this twice because I was like, I couldn't get enough of this. Lindsay Bones. Dear Astoria, there are homeless women who've been kicked out of Astoria Lifeboat. This is the only place right now to eat. They are in need of ready-made food. I bought a girl a pizza yesterday, and as she ate, she informed me of this situation. Most people in need are on 9th Street West on the Riverwalk. Soft foods are best. Soup, fries, pizza. Please help if you can. Okay. Ooh, I like this. Oh, this is like a speech I planned that I never gave. Urge the county to provide due diligence audit on any American Rescue Act dollars given to Lifeboat to stop the abuses of Fair Housing Law, ADA, Civil Rights Act, state law, and recognize the harmful effects of unchecked misuse of funds and donations. Ooh, quite concise. Because I was toying with the idea of making premeditated speeches, because I also like being just like really in the moment. Wow. Do not accept the exclusion policy of Lifeboat. The policies are unequal, disproportionate, harsh, and life-threatening. Unfair, punitive, and include false accusations, bad references, and protection of bullies. All private and federal donors need to be aware of misuse of funds. The board of directors of the Lifeboat nonprofit need to get the abuse, disability discrimination, ADA discrimination, gender discrimination under control, the protection of violent offenders, sex offenders, drug dealers, to the detriment of the safety of our community, and discrimination versus women, children, elderly, and disabled must stop. Kirk Wintermute must resign to protect the integrity of the judiciary. Whew. Holy moly. Okay, and then the paragraph I had just read, urge the county. Okay, now let's see. The county needs to step up allocation of resources to non-discriminatory agencies and stop walking county finance into a liability mess where abuses at Lifeboat may endanger the county purse with civil rights litigation for abuses given blind eye and crossed fingers are not enough. We need oversight, background checks, and safety for women, children, disabled, and elderly. I 100% agree. Very nice, Mary. So that's like a county speech I never gave yet. Set over for attorney. I'm getting bored. Okay. Yes, so if they were going to have to prosecute me to death, whatever this is, it's a go-to list. So where are we? How many minutes are we in? 39 minutes. Yeah, that's about as enough. If I were a judge, I would. This was the don't make me laugh. Like, I know you just have to give me this form so your boss thinks you're doing your job, but it was like, here, you can pay $100 to make this whole case go away. And my friend's like, I got 100. My other friend's like, I'll pay your fines. No biggie, right? But the point is, um, yeah, state's pretrial offer. It was like an offer to like basically enforce me not having food for another 365 days, which the clock is ticking. It will be 666 days on the Ides of March. Okay, and then this is like the amended information. He ran off with this. It was like he didn't really want to give it to me. I really like this. I think this is my courtroom sketch. This is actually what was going on in court. If you need to like see what was actually going on in court. Uh-huh. What the heck? What the heck? This is what I do when I'm stressed. Ransom would be proud. My grandpa, the artist. Okay. I'm an artist too. We're all artists, dude. My brothers can paint. My sister's an artist. Yeah. Okay. Excluded posters. Yeah. So I, I got on some really bad software thing and was like trying to like have fun with like Ozark, Iraq meth dealer of all people calling me high or out of my mind. Date of incident, employee name, employee role, location, program, incident description. And it's like, dude, the incident is you read your wife's email or your soon to be wife's email. Like, that's abusive. Get out of her inbox. Stop hovering, dude. So Erin received an email for exposing previous communication to Clubhouse International admin. I was like, I wrote a group email to Erin and Clubhouse International because I knew you monitored her email and might delete this. Okay. So I was kind of letting you know, even if you are secretly snooping and hacking her email and you delete it, I've got a workaround. So there'll be a copy with Clubhouse International who evidently don't want to work with you anymore because of all the drugs and violence and craziness and harassment. So too bad about that. Falsely accusing staff and incoherently describing. So falsely accusing staff, I'm like, no, go talk to all the witnesses. You can't just say that's a false accusation. You need to go talk to the witnesses. That's incorrect. To be she appeared to be high or out of her mind. And that's it's like you'd have to know Erin. It's like she talks like a valley girl, and it's just like it's probably Erin wrote that and kind of tried to make it look like Ozark wrote it, but really it was probably Kirk. And then I'm like, Kirk, what's your deal? Do you have a crush on Erin? What's the whole story behind this nonprofit? Because I do think they all want to be like Mother Teresa, Godzilla, Saint Apocalypse, like Holy Mary of the Apocalypse. They all want to save the world. I get it. I'm that kind of person too. So whoop, 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 whoop. That circuit invalidates Oregon's ban on secret recordings. And so, oh man, there's so much more. There's got to be so much more. Okay. Where is my letter to that sweet judge? Where is he? Ted Grove. I love his name, Grove, because there's a shopping mall in LA called the Grove. He was like falling in love with me. He was all like, really? You guys are like after her? Like, she's a nice lady. It's like, what's going on? Oh dear heavens! And then Matthias, honey, child, I heard you live in Napa. Like, I hope you're doing well, and I hope you stay away from Ryan Lyles. He sounds like a piece of work. But motion to recuse Cindy Matthias. Motion to dismiss hearing. I just couldn't. I couldn't. I wasn't gonna have her treat me in that condescending way she likes to treat me. But the thing is like, I finally realized is I'm intimidated by having to go before Cindy Matthias, but maybe it spilled over to the prosecutor because maybe she'd be looking at them like, what kind of case is this? Like, what the heck? So it is hereby ordered to, okay, why do I have two of that? With all due respect to the court, so this is the motion in order. Oh my gosh. I did not. I'm gonna puke. Law really does give me nausea, and I think that is a normal thing that happens to everyone. Oh my gosh. And this is like right before they shut the show down, right? I certify that on date 10/26/23, I provide a true and copy of each document. Email from Mayor of Astoria, Sean Fitzpatrick, excerpt. Statute ORS 163.275, coercion, which I believed Ozark to be committing the crime when I recorded him. ORS 659A.142, discrimination by a place of public accommodation. Okay. Well, so I never knew what won. It was sort of like all the straws that broke the camel's back. No camels were hurt, right? Only me. So let's read coercion. A person commits the crime of coercion when the person compels or induces another person to engage in conduct from which the other person has a legal right to abstain, or to abstain from engaging in conduct in which the other person has a legal right to engage, by means of instilling in the other person a fear that if the other person refrains from the conduct compelled, or induces or engages in conduct contrary to the compulsion or inducement, the actor or another will unlawfully cause physical injury to some person, unlawfully cause physical injury to some animal, unlawfully cause damage to property, engage in conduct constituting a crime, falsely accuse some person of a crime, or cause criminal charges to be instituted against a person, cause or continue to a strike, boycott, or other collective action injurious to some person's business, except that such a threat is not deemed coercive when the act or omission compelled is for the benefit of the group of in whose interest the actor purports to act, testify falsely or provide false information, or withhold testimony or information with respect to another's legal claim or defense, unlawfully use or abuse the person's position as a public servant by performing some act within or related to official duties, by failing or refusing to perform an official duty in such a manner as to affect some person adversely. And then this is what he got cited with. Like a week after the DA drops this case, I get the letter from Boley saying, yeah, for sure. And like to get a successful ruling that Boley is like, nah, dude, you're really violating the law. He's the one being cited with violating the law due to my complaint. So he's trying to have this little petty misdemeanor vendetta on me until the prosecution finally realizes they're being played, or it's not worth it, or this is kind of hokey, or maybe that I have good intentions, or they misunderstood the wiretap law, I'm afraid. Discrimination against an individual with a disability or an employment. So anyway, stop discriminating, Lifeboat. Just stop it. Stop it already. And then what the heck is this? Oh no. And this, I have to tell you, this gave me a load of grief because I put $40 on a credit card to scan this baby up into my case. So the great part about having a case against you, if you're a pro se, is you can just submit anything you want, like Dear Diary style. So this beauty has this huge amount of okay, here we go. Which way did I do it? The Amici Curiae, Amici being friends, Curiae being the court. So the Reporters Committee for Freedom of the Press and 22 media organizations in support of plaintiffs. So why I knew about WASDN is Veritas referred to WASDN a lot. So I said on the phone to Mr. Klein, Stephen Klein, I was just like, that was so way cool the way you got all that animal rights law into the Veritas proceeding, because people think of Veritas as like a right wing organization, possibly, or like they don't understand it, like the sort of libertarian or something. But I was like, that was just so neat because I am a vegan and I'm like, whoa, animal rights activists have pushed very hard for our civil liberties in terms of freedom of speech, including having their videos of animal abuse be viewed as First Amendment activities. So my ultimate point, besides this wonderful briefing like from all these media organizations supporting free speech and why this is critical towards what is called ag law, um, like dismantling the gagging of speech against agricultural abuses um, through things like Animal Enterprise Terrorism Act. um, it was I was just kind of like my bigger point, like my meta point was why do animals in Idaho have more protection in the Ninth Circuit than homeless women in Astoria, Oregon? Like, why can we not go in? Oh, we actually can go in there with secret cameras and record Ozark being abusive. That's what the Ninth Circuit tells us. Someone needs to do it. So, what is Ozark going to do? Preemptively kick out anybody that he fears may catch him in the act of calling women B words or asking them to suck his blue balls, which is what so many people tell me he does, or calling them a rat to intimidate them. So, this whole anyway. Okay, my head is really ready for coffee or something. Okay, so I was just like crying over how much money that costs to make a copy for the DA, a copy for the court, and a copy for myself, which I often neglected my own printouts to save money. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Okay, so this is a relaxation. This is basically this is like this case is going on too long and impeding my life. I moved to relax pretrial release terms as they place an undue burden on me. So I'm explaining how stressful this is. My attempts to document bullying and abuse have yielded the prosecution, despite my innocence. As Orak previously threatened to lie to authorities about alleged wrongdoing he fabricated, I did not feel safe in such an atmosphere of retaliation and mendacity. I humbly thank the courts for looking at this the isolation and alienation and disruption of daily living imposed by this long case under motion to relax this punitive stricture. It is order for enhanced courtroom security. It is hereby ordered due to security risks of this case for advanced security precautions and hearings related to this case to be observed in the interest of safety for all parties and persons. Motion. This is kind of where are we? This is like towards the bloody end. In all courtroom appearances for this case, enhanced security will be appropriate due to Ozark Iraq's pattern or practice of carrying a concealed firearm and deceiving law enforcement. With warrant obtained by Ron Brown, Officer McNeary's ballistics test proved the operability of Mr. Iraq's pistol. Respondent, a victim of carjacking in Los Angeles in 2004, sustained a head injury when hit on the back of the skull with a weapon, most likely a pistol. Respondent, as a victim of crime, has reasonable cause to need enhanced security for this case. Respondent has been threatened by lifeboat clients, employees, and contractors with being knifed to death, a threat to be punched in the face, lifeboat man's hand around the throat enclosing the jugular vein and Adam's apple, and sexual assault. Respondent has witnessed numerous assaults of lifeboat people and knows of assaults concealed by lifeboat from authorities. Local businesses report a lifeboat asks them not to call police, but to call lifeboat. Clatsop County Courthouse does not have metal detectors. Any additional time for security should be planned. Respondent has cooperated with authorities to provide information about assaults, theft, and drug dealing and sought protective custody for informant status despite the harmful effects of solitary confinement when Clatsop courts failed to provide first notice to appear for June court date. Order to compel. It is hereby ordered for the state to produce exculpatory evidence relevant to the respondent's right to a defense in light of Brady v. Maryland. What is Brady v. Maryland? Michael Cohen, former LA Sheriff's deputy, working security at Portland City Hall. Was so cool. So cool, dude. He's like, let's talk Brady v. Maryland. If exculpatory evidence is concealed, your case it's a big flub up. You have to provide exculpatory evidence. So I'm citing that. I was so proud that I knew that. I was like, woohoo. You guys are trying to like paint him as a lily right now. Okay? Like, that's cute. Okay. It is hereby ordered Cindy Matis to be. Oh, this is so horrible. Family health crisis letter. This is about my friend going into pneumonia and heart failure and kidney failure. Just, conveniently. Almost like his body was shutting down because they were torturing me so badly. I think that actually happens. I think that's how Stalin does it. You torture the family members to hurt the person who's your actual target. Oh, I loved this. This is like after this near-death experience, my let's just call him friend was having. It was really kind of giving me this sort of flashback to like, who am I? What am I? Why is this happening to me? Why am I in this Kafka novel? I read The Trial when I was like 20. Why am I in the trial now? Okay. Dear Clatsop County Courts and District Attorney. it would be a nice time to tell you about my history of community service. It was like, ow, if that didn't hurt your eyes. Then I started off with like born, year of the snake. What you gonna do? Like hate on me for being born in 77. Go for it. Okay, so then I explain all the work I did for my family, all the stuff I did in high school. There's like stuff I left off. Occasionally it would haunt me in my sleep and I'd be like, wait a minute, I forgot that little like gig I did, some kind of volunteer community service. I remember the time ACLU Portland was like, do you want to volunteer? And I was like, I've been volunteering all my life. I'm about ready to get paid employment. Like, please, could somebody caregiving for mother. I literally helped poor people at Occupy London. Okay, too. So thank you for taking the time from your busy schedules to notice I exist. Like, I am thrilled we can work together to create services for the needy, which meet the needs of the community. So you can understand me better, I would like to submit a summary of my education so you can understand that I have had education which provides me an enormous advantage over similar defendants. And I want you to know I respect your education nonetheless. Like, you respect me, I respect you. Okay, so this is kind of, guess where I got inspired from this as the little deputy district attorney bumper sticker. He was bragging on his badass school that he went to, that my friend went to. And I was like, oh, is that where we are right now? We just have to brag about what posh school we went to? Okay. Okay, I'll do that. So I'm like, but damn, I went to like 6 different colleges. Isn't that weird? I just couldn't decide. I was like always taking more art history, please. Please, one more helping of art history. I cannot get enough of that stuff. And getting as much school as I could get out of the whole school deal. I could still go to school, yeah. Like, I love school. Personal self. Oh, I love this. So this is like personal self, because I mean, like, there's structured school, but there's stuff you like to do. I'm like languages, high interest in law and legal issues. My interest in languages, I feel like, is notable because I've been working at it for a while. Okay. Oh God, my head's hurting. Oh, special interest. This is like where I was like, yes, this is now scanned into the record till the end of time for whoever else wants to come at me with some fake anti-activist special prosecution. It's like, this is kind of like a free verse poem. Perhaps I should read the whole damn thing. Because at this point, I was kind of like suggesting to the DA, like, if you think this case is fun, can you imagine all the great, actually interesting things we could talk about if we were at a cocktail party? For instance, Zen Buddhism, MK Ultra, War on Terror, Mahatma Gandhi, imperialism, Upton Sinclair, the jungle, muckraking, 20th century modernism, literature and art, Dadaism, 1930s expressionism, Bauhaus, Wiener Werkstätte, human rights in Russia and China, world religions, Islam, Judaism, Hinduism, colonialism, genocide, surrealism, intelligence agencies and spycraft, MI5, FBI, CIA, KGB, and KVD, totalitarianism, gulag literature, industrialization, fascism, socialism and poverty, CIA black sites in Guantanamo, prisons and extrajudicial torture, refoulement and extrajudicial extradition. I just basically, that's a redundancy. But I did that on purpose in case people didn't know what refoulement meant, because it's a French word. International law, diplomacy, international relations, internet law, international human rights for women, counterterrorism, environmental law, animal rights law, corrective rape, sexual violence versus GLBTQ, rape and conflict, war rape, weightlifting. That was to lighten up the mood. Whistleblowing, sexual abuse in high-profile institutions, example, e.g., exemplar Grazia, Catholic Church, Oxfam, Mercy Corps, Epstein, Hollywood, Weinstein. Child soldiers, police brutality, homelessness, violence versus homeless women, disability law, health and nutrition, British welfare policy, Swedish housing policy, yoga, travel, significant time spent in UK, Ireland, and Sweden, art galleries. Oh, okay. Oh, this is horrible. This is like my draft of the same thing, where it was like hurting my brain really hard. I don't know why. Oops. Okay, 1016. Letter to Peterson. Crime list. Crime list. So this was a different write off. This was like, now I'm going to write down every crime I can think of without emphasizing who did the crime, but to let you know that I know about the crime or who might have done the crime. So you can come talk to me if you want to talk about real crime, in case you're ready to stop with this fake case. So, letter to Peterson crime list, 3 articles on prosecuting women who record abusers, Harbor waiver, Harbor email transcript, motion to recuse for November 3rd, 2023, ORS 14.250, supporting reports 2. Oh, okay. 1014. Winding down, are we? Dear Judge Peterson. Okay. Shall we read the whole thing? How long was this one? It was like anywhere from 7 to 19, 18 pages. These god awfully long letters. Oh, okay, this is a merciful 6 pages. Dear Judge Peterson, I thank you for the opportunity to defend my deployment of 165.540 right to record phone calls under the one party consent rule in Oregon, which largely benefits law enforcement. State v. Lizzie. It was my intent to fully comply with one party consent legality and obtaining of evidence for the investigation of Lifeboat for disability discrimination and for other authorities such as city council or local police. When I asked the Harbor to help make the phone call for my CCA issued clothing voucher, the Harbor said they would help me if I signed a waiver permitting them to speak to this other nonprofit on my behalf. Stephen Klein, Pro Hoc Vice for Project Veritas, agrees with me that Harbor's deployment of speakerphone granted me consent to be a party participant to the call. Indeed, my written consent allowed the advocate to assist me with the advocacy call. I did not even assume Ozark Iraq would answer the phone or become aggressive on the line. I have ceased use of the Harbor due to the trauma of repeatedly reporting to them Ozark Iraq sexual innuendo, and yet they continue collaboration with him to the detriment of victims of abuse. Alex Thomas has asked I skip meals for an additional 365 days as a plea, with his paltry $100 fee waived. As I have not broken the law and only sought to uphold laws in violation, I suggest we await the outcome of Bureau of Labor and Industries investigation and dismiss this case to be refiled at another time if clatsop DA finds it necessary. I have been denied meals, etc. at Lifeboat for 533 days as of November 3rd, 2023, in punishment for reporting harassment, abuse, drugs, and assault. As of November 3, 2023, I will have been denied counsel for 231 days, not receiving so much as 1/2 an hour consultation with an Oregon lawyer on my case. When I was approved pro se, I was position 1 on the list for a defender. I did not expect it would be so tricky to get counsel in a supplementary advisory capacity. I soon found out the waiting list was at 72 in Clatsop and alerted the newspaper. The public defender waiting list has fluctuated between 61 and 82. Stumptown Legal thinks I should get on the list for an advisory council while retaining pro se status for ease of filing on my own behalf. My California lawyer friend thinks I should invoke right to counsel and cease pro se. Stephen Klein told me he could assist my public defender with my motion to dismiss in a pro hoc vice capacity, but I assume he is busy. I apologize for the recusal issues besetting this tiny county courthouse. Without the recusal of Matthias, as set forth in my motion to recuse for the November 3rd, 2023 hearing, I will next move for a continuance for public defender. I do not relish the delay, but I report that I will be unable to represent myself in her court due to the seriously disabling trauma surrounding male pattern violence deployed against me in this county and ways that I felt mistreated in my good faith reporting, undermining my chance for a fair hearing. So if you are unable to recuse her for my motions hearing, I move to invoke my right to counsel. I regret the lack of speedy trial, the lack of official notification for hearing, generating the unfair warrant and 24 hours incarceration, the lack of counsel, the lack of safety for women, the lack of soup kitchen for women. Please note the good work of Rose Haven in Portland, which provides day center and emotional support for women in a therapeutic, safe setting. I hope one day Astoria can wage something similar so that women suffering poverty and abuse can find resources without harassment, assault, and bullying. I have been asking Harbor to fill this care gap since 2022, and I hope I can help. I suggested to Erin Carlson, a women's center, too. I hope you are well. Please let me know if a neutral judge can be arranged. Otherwise, I'd like a lawyer. And so and then I said yours. You can't tell what it says. YRS, like it was a text message, yours. And that's the part that I thought was so funny because I was like, I don't hold it against you that you're stuck with these foolish circumstances. Oh, heavens. List of crime incidences. The lifeboat. Oh boy, this one goes on a bit, doesn't it? Shall we go? I might not. It looks like there are a few names here. Wallet stolen from antique mall business owner by lifeboat thief. Theft of 135 and debit card from sleeping homeless woman. Recent rape under boardwalk, 2 homeless women tied up for assault. Multiple suspects at large. Gang rape in a van involving at least one lifeboat male versus homeless female. Assault of Dwayne Blair by Nicholas Mackey, aka Quinton. Assault of Obie Babs by Nicholas Mackey. Assault of Dan Kennedy by Glenn, now missing. Rape of lifeboat female by lifeboat male in custody. Curb stomping of lifeboat female by lifeboat male. Malachi, Paul Robick. Genitals exposed by lifeboat employee to women who do not consent. And that would be Monkey Robert Vandervelde, as well as Corey Quint, also an exhibitionist. Dildo brandished at non-consenting female by same. Okay, that would be Robert Vandervelde. Transgender person beaten up by same. Homeless tell me historically Iraq sold them meth. Women threatened suicide outside of lifeboat due to boyfriend beating her. Female assaulting female at lifeboat windowless basement, chopping her throat, leaving red marks, threatening to kill her. Same female threatening to beat me up for calling 911 as her partner beat her outside McDonald's, chases me into Wana. Dwayne Blair cutting his face at park with knife. Lifeboat male choking lifeboat female, enforcing unwanted sexual contact. Lifeboat male injecting female, enforcing unwanted sexual conduct. Lifeboat male graffiti all over town, calling his stalking victim whore, bitch, etc. Lifeboat male cutting open female head by pushing her into a gate. Lifeboat male strangling female, charged. Lifeboat male chasing female with pipe. Malachi again, Paul Robick. Made of metal threatening, in custody, read meth. He was in custody at the time. Lifeboat male threatening to punch female in face, doing mental health diversion now. Lifeboat contractor threatening female will be knifed to death, left town. Lifeboat meth dealer threatening family member for anti-drug stance, alleging family member under investigation, presumably by other drug affiliates, deceased. Lifeboat fentanyl smoker follows other lifeboat clients to DHS where he completes assault broken up at lifeboat by me. So I broke up the assault, but the assault continued at the DHS building. Lifeboat clients steal Clatsop Community College laptops, sell for drugs, forcibly squat apartment, making it a storage site for counterfeit oxycodone, liquid meth needles, and assault. Assault cat, dealer known to police, as is his father. Punch out Lumadou, Xavier and Savage, Dion Lumadou, which is a Americanization of L'Homme Dieu, the man of God. I like the French name though. That's cool. Punch out of lifeboat woman's tooth by lifeboat male in custody. Really bugs me. Really, really bugs me. Lifeboat male sexually abusing teen girl in custody. Zach, who harasses like everyone and punched out her teeth, a different woman's teeth. Lifeboat drug sellers, more than Zach Mickelson, Gallon Zach Mickelson. Lifeboat drug sellers, more than 9 I can think of selling at or near lifeboat. Okay. Order for continuance for legal counsel. In respect of the right to legal counsel, it is hereby ordered to continue this case, awaiting Office of Public Defense Services providing legal counsel. Motion for continuance for legal counsel. Oh, dear heavens. Oh, no, I think this is another long one. Oh, dear heavens. Oh, well, this is a marathon. When approved per se, August 31, 2023, I was first on the list for public defender. When I called a few weeks later, OPDS told me the list was at 72 persons and that if I wanted an attorney in a consultative advisory capacity, I would have to get at the end of the list. Well, arguing my motion to dismiss would be very fun. I have legal questions about venue, recusal, delay, speedy trial, plea bargains, retaliation, which I cannot resolve on Google. I would like to initiate the process of obtaining a legal advisor for assistance with my motion to dismiss hearing. Therefore, this motion for continuance for legal counsel is needful in the interest of due process, the right to legal counsel, and fairness. In the absence of any dismissal of the case by the district attorney, a judge, a continuance of the motion to dismiss hearing is needful as pro se representation. These 2 months has compounded isolation and stress without constitutional right to counsel. The additional weight of July and August without legal counsel was burdensome, isolating, leading to anguish and stagnation in this case. At first contact with notice of potential investigation on St. Patrick's Day, March 17, 2023, at 7 a.m., when I was accosted while half asleep by Hanson, I should immediately have obtained counsel had I money. These 7 months without suitable legal advisor have compounded stress and anxiety, exacerbated by the 514 days of retaliatory resource denial by Lifeboat to punish me for reporting sexual harassment, assault, drugs, and disability abuse. While the courts at this time do not have a civil rights case on the books to issue an injunction against Lifeboat discriminating, the state agency Boley could take a strong stance in that regard. As we await the Boley report, another 2 months without any legal advisor will worsen my sense of isolation. The courts may be pleased Oregon DOJ Crime Victims Compensation awarded me counseling for assault I experienced from a Lifeboat drug dealer, and I continue to meet with my licensed clinical social worker, and I'm starting with a third counselor due to the grievous distress and trauma this case has inflicted on me. Please grant this continuance not because I desire a delay, but due to the lack of public defense. This case needs fairness. MR Lang. Dear class of courts, please review 3 attached articles. Alleged domestic violence victim in Massachusetts charged with recording ex-boyfriend, ABC 5. 2, she recorded her abuser, then she faced charges. Senator seeks to update the wiretapping law, Commonwealth Magazine. 3, Wendy Murphy, don't punish women who secretly record abusers. While Massachusetts law is far more restrictive than Oregon one-party consent law, the comparative jurisdictional analysis gives context to the overall zeitgeist. MA 1015. Okay, so God bless this woman, her face. And it literally, she had to save her life and prove that this guy was abusing her. She recorded her abuser, then she faced charges. And I had found these early on, but then I kind of laid them in as things felt more tense. And I love this. Don't punish women who secretly record abusers. It's like, what is wrong with the system? Oh, okay. So this is the Harbor's permission to talk to Ozark Iraq, who they've known for over a year that he's been asking women for sexual favors, who are homeless women behind his wife's back, behind his baby mama's back. I mean, wow. And they're just still kissing up to him. Still, you're going to work with our domestic violence victims at the Columbia Inn and Shelter. And I believe this moment where I went into the Harbor, because the CCA would not play, because they were probably too smart to realize, oh, we're still trying to kiss up to him and we know he's shady. But Harbor, the fact that Harbor played, this is almost exactly in reaction to, I think it's Blair Best's KGW article, where they were going to have a sex offender delivering meals to domestic violence victims. And I was like, no. And so I think when the $100,000 contract for that meal service went out, it actually went to the jail company. And I think Ozark was vying for that. So I was like, okay, let's get this on. And the fact that he blew up on the phone and acted so crazy on the phone, she's predatory. It was like, okay, dude, this is how you treat women who go to the Harbor? Does anyone really want to trust you around abuse victims? Because I don't. I've seen how you treat women. Okay. And poor Jessica Klein, who had heard. So this is 15 October. I've been advised, this is to Jessica Klein at the Harbor. I've been advised by an expert in the field of ORS 165.540 that my one-party consent recording was entirely legal, although it embarrassed Ozark Iraq to treat a survivor in such a derogatory way on the speakerphone at the Harbor. The expert will be assisting my defender as I await legal counsel with long delay. Currently, I am pro se and my only representative, and I send this in the capacity of being my only defense representative at this time. I regret the personal upset this discrimination case has caused the harbor and ask for a copy of the liability waiver I signed allowing the harbor to advocate against lifeboat discrimination regarding the clothing voucher, which was never fulfilled due to lifeboat discrimination against survivors. Your advocate did not offer me a copy of the liability waiver I signed. I should have asked for one, but I did not. Since the harbor reached out to Ozark, Iraq about my legal right to record his threats to me, resulting in a case being filed, I need a copy of that waiver. So basically, the harbor reached out to Ozark and then he called the police. That's creepy. It has been shredded. If it has been shredded, I may need you to testify about the general nature and policy regarding such a waiver as used in 2023 March. I would also like to ask you to voluntarily testify as a witness in my defense regarding phone conversations we had in 2022 and emails we shared about Ozark, Iraq discriminating against women and survivors and disabled women, including with sexual innuendo, in which he was repeatedly reported to ask the homeless women to suck my blue balls. Someone at the harbor told me the liability waiver, in which I consented to allow the harbor advocate to help me advocate against lifeboats' gender discrimination, may have been shredded. As with prior records preservations alert I sent you in March 2023, I hope you can stop any such records destruction, as they may be needful in my defense against these unfounded charges. I apologize for the distress Ozark, Iraq's bullying of me may have caused you, and I hope we will all eventually be free of such anguish. Please let me know, one, if you will be able to provide the waiver or testify regarding it, or two, testify voluntarily about our conversations and emails regarding Ozark, Iraq using sexually harassing language to lifeboat clients and other acts of discrimination, and read the need for safe services for survivors. Please let me know what timeline you can provide an answer, as my previous email and phone calls have not yielded results. MA. So she was quite panicked. She's like, doesn't want to testify. Obviously, who would? Okay, so here's a transcript. And this is basically like the nothing burger of the case. Is like literally, this is like 2 minutes. Is like, she's filed so many complaints. And it's like, therefore, that's not a reason to kick her out. That's called retaliation. Calling anyway, like I always thought of it as like there's this phrase hiding behind the skirts. It's usually meant to imply a male doesn't have masculinity because he has to hide behind his mother's skirts. It's an old maybe it's American or British or something, but I always thought of it as like he's hiding behind Kirk Wintermute's judicial robe. Like, always like, look, and actually that is actually a violation of judicial ethics to allow people to misuse your position as a judge to conceal wrongdoing or to so Kirk actually needs to rein that in, and he needs to resign from Lifeboat and maybe his job as a judge, or resign from being a judge and just be a full-time nonprofit guy, something, because this whole mashup where Ozark is allowed to abuse a judge's position to have prejudicial treatment of a whole raft of clients, and conceal wrongdoing is definitely a problem. And I've had some interesting talks with Rachel Mortimer over at Judicial Fitness over it. Oh gosh, Cindy, I love you. Cindy Matthias, I want to go do karaoke. She has such a pretty voice, so melodious. And what a god awful county to have to be a judge in. Oh, motion to recuse. I was like, can we just please keep this polite and not get into why? And then it was like, oh, okay. Okay, you want me to like share the nitty gritty? Good thing I publish my judicial complaints on my blog so I can find them. How else would I find anything if it wasn't on my blog? Matthias had ignored all my motions and objections to protect the abuser. ... Meals on Wheels, which is now Senior Meals to Go, or what is it? Something like that. It's like they can't even use Meals on Wheels because it's just too much toxic of a concept. And they basically zoom up to your window like you're at a fast food place because COVID and the sexual predator at the Meals on Wheels. It's kind of like, oh, and then my old landlord. Then she was so mean about protecting my evil landlord, abusing her. All these like miserable people. Once again, somebody needs to stand up for the miserable people who are mistreated. Shocking level of lack of accountability with that type of abuse. Okay. Order to compel. Motion to compel. Ooh, 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 this is one of my favorite ones. This is when my brain really was churning because I felt like a learning curve where I was like understanding law more. I was like, oh, cool. So, order to compel, motion to compel 165.5401A use. Letter about 165.5401A. Letter for Wasden document, summary, amicus brief, and opinion. Animal Legal Defense Fund v. Wasden. Okay. So, order to compel one party consent evidence obtained under 165.5401A. It is hereby ordered the clatsop district attorney produce evidence in a reasonable time frame regarding one party consent evidence taken under 165.5401A in concluded cases to demonstrate the utility of one party consent to obtain telephonic evidence without a warrant. Okay. And this is the why. So that's the order. This is the motion, which is more like the why, the explanation. Motion to compel instances in which one party consent evidence obtained under 165.5401A has been used in evidence. With great respect to the streamlining of prosecutions, the one party consent rule for telephonic recording has been described to benefit prosecutions in the creation of evidence without warrant. This motion to compel evidence for evidentiary purposes regarding my defense under 165.5401A seeks a reasonable time frame, not in excess of 15 years, in which types of one party consent recordings have greatly assisted prosecutions in charging documents. This motion does not seek any document under seal or in any pending matter, but rather seeks information regarding concluded cases in which such evidence has been useful to authorities, reduced necessity of obtaining warrants, or yielded helpful intelligence. This request might include drug interdiction, any hostage crisis scenario, any evidence obtained on a speakerphone broadcast, etc., with attention to diverse scenarios in which a citizen acting to assist authorities might obtain evidence. This motion seeks to establish if clatsop district attorney normally recognizes or takes advantage of one participant consent recording. Dear courts, oh boy, this is just like an editorial letter, just in case you're bored on a Friday night and want to read a long letter from Mary Ann. How many pages is this one? Do I see more than 7? Oh, dear heavens. Dear courts, 1017. Boy, the benefits of ORS 165.5401A, one party consent, outweigh the detriment. And can I just tell you, my letter to Ted Grove, I think that's the thing I think they left off the scan because it was just so heartwarming. But anyway, a one party consent outweighed the detriment. ORS 165.5401A, one party consent law, is widely known in journalistic and filmmaking circles for its effective protection against harassment, abuse, corruption, intimidation, and extortion. It is my understanding clatsop DA sought to prosecute this case under ORS 165.5401C, but due to Veritas v. Schmidt, refiled it under ORS 165.5401A without any explanation of the logic, presuming I did not hold one-party consent rights in Oregon. Indeed, I gave my consent to the advocate to help me make the difficult call, as shown by the consent contract with Harbor. Harbor made the call on my behalf, announced my presence, and included me as a participant and party by placing the call on speaker. It is my understanding Harbor wanted me to be party to the abusive tone of Mr. Orak, so I could understand his tone. I found his verbal accusations to be hostile and derogatory, and his disrespect of the Harbor as a sanctuary from abuse to be significant in the context of his gender abuse and discrimination. I understand Harbor did not comprehend 165.5401A's scope of rights to include any party to the call. Ozark, Iraq was fully legally protected to record the call under ORS 165.5401A, as was the advocate, as was I, the person initiating the call for my advocacy against abuse. My spontaneous choice to exercise my ORS 165.5401A rights arose in the context of abuse, whistleblowing, and fear for my safety. If Ozark, Iraq wants to sue me for attempting to receive services or any of his spurious allegations, he should feel free to do so in civil court. This case is inappropriate for criminal court, as the clatsop DA cannot re-legislate 165.5401A from prosecutions alone, and cannot selectively deprive certain persona non grata immunity from rights or deprive them of equal protection, or bend the law in contradiction of the facts to recharge a case which, as filed, should have been dropped 7-4-23 due to Veritas v. Schmidt, Ninth Circuit ruling. The clatsop DA overextended itself to recharge this case under a non applicable section of the statute to save face or save the case. A better use of the DA's energy would be in balancing the production of cases to match the availability of defenders. It is not the duty of the district attorney to exercise unequally allocated discretion regarding cases which may cause embarrassment to local officials, nonprofits, or public bodies, or save face for continued production of grants by silencing critics who operate in peaceful ways via First Amendment activities. Greater education for nonprofits about telephone demeanor and protected Oregon rights to record telephone calls would caution against the use of lies, false allegations, threats, defamation, or manners which might embarrass should they be publicized. It is not the journalist who should be punished for exposing discrimination or abuse. It would be better to it would be better it would better be processed in heartfelt reevaluation of human relations and best practices. I urge the courts to consider the ongoing harm this case does to the reputation of the harbor who do not want me to be prosecuted, the harm it does to the homeless who feel saddened and silenced by the draconian prosecution of a trusted advocate, the harm to potential witnesses who feel their jobs at CBH, CCA, or the harbor would be endangered by testifying at trial, the harm to witnesses of the prosecution who will face Barbara Streisand effect, magnifying mistreatment of women and concealment of criminal background, the harm to their family, potential media exposure, etc. The last thing I want you to consider is me. I think the women, the disabled, minorities, GLBT, neurodiverse, crime victims, Latino, Black, and other people discriminated by lifeboat, including Pacific Islander women who are fearful to testify, are worth it, including any maximum penalty provided by law, even if I were wrongfully convicted and sentenced. My greatest heroes have partaken in law tests involving civil disobedience. In my case, one party consent made the recording so legal, I presumed it would go unnoticed, along with my thousands of attempts to make art questioning injustice. As there was no crime, there was also no mens rea of crime or intentional disobeying of any law. I was faced with a quandary. Could I allow lifeboat men to continue harassing and assaulting and intimidating me and other vulnerable people indefinitely, even when Ozark, Iraq attempted to create false charges to intimidate me? While I understand this tactic is prevalent in methamphetamine fueled cultures, I have never used meth, but became culturally immersed as Measure 110 dropped meth into the heart of downtown, and people I know felt free to openly use sell buy meth freely. And I observed patterns of behavior, including punding, repetitive dopamine producing object rearranging, psychotic episodes, sudden acts of aggression, hypersexuality related behaviors, and became aware of theft and abuse relating to this drug. Misuse of law enforcement is a tricky tactic deployed as a diversion to deceive the public about wrongful conduct. I regret the possibility that the DA's time has been wasted pursuing this case when greater attention could be paid to the violent crimes or drug trafficking crimes I continue to try to whistleblow. Better care for the homeless will welcome diverse perspectives and have equity and inclusion at heart. Please consider arbitration, civil, or public hearings as a more suitable venue for the issues raised. When I was asked by the chief of police to report Ozark Iraq's attempt to corner me in his office and make false allegations against me, out of respect for the Bureau of Labor and Industries, I felt the administrative law was a more appropriate venue for my concerns. While I'm frustrated with their slowness, my outreach to Eric Carlson, who promised no further dealings with Ozark, or to Clubhouse International, who assured me safety was paramount, added to my sense we would make progress. This case was filed in the aftermath of the Dwayne Blair stabbing attack, February 2023. I was dismayed that my witnessing of Dwayne Blair being assaulted at Lifeboat underlined Ozark's need to exclude me, to discriminate against me for witnessing abuse. I suffered a painful tooth extraction, leaving me in pain for weeks, days before trying to get my clothing voucher. Ozark Iraq likely opened his BOLI ticket, Bureau of Labor's and Industry ticket, days prior to that call and was in the heat of anger at me as a whistleblower. While I hoped Lifeboat would change in response to BOLI, I realized that hope was premature. If the answer was, okay, sure, I'll meet you with a sack of clothes, it would make for a painfully uninteresting case. It is Ozark Iraq's obsession with leveling flamboyant and grandiose accusations that makes this case even interesting at all. I suggest his tendency to demonize the neighborhood, especially female business owners, as a lynch mob was an unfair incitation to violence against them and unfairly demonize them as racist or anti poor. When I saw their suffering, as well as the suffering of the women he sexually harassed, I felt compelled to reach out to leaders in the community. Please accept this letter in the spirit of the future of humanity for the downtrodden. Ang. Dear courts, please enjoy the amicus brief and opinion in Animal Legal Defense Fund v. Wasden. The question arises, will women discriminated from the basic human right to food have the First Amendment rights to expose inhumane conditions of their abuse and mistreatment on par with journalistic norms to uncover abuses gagged via ag-gag laws struck down as unconstitutional? While I hope women shall have so much more one day, it is currently under dispute whether Ozark Iraq can be the sole monopoly meal provider to homeless in Astoria and if he should have the power to deny food on basis of gender, race, orientation, or spiritual affinity or disability. My hint to the courts grant women at least as much advocacy as animals in Idaho. First Amendment protection to uncover meal denial, verbal abuse, harassment of crime victims, etc., should be at the forefront. Ang. Animal Legal Defense Fund via Wasden. Somebody was like, you won. I guess I did win. I won. Was it a win-win? Or there's this concept called a Pyrrhic victory where you win, but the harm done is so much that you didn't really win. I kind of want this bag back. It's such a cool bag. I might use it for something else one day. And how do I not have that Ted Grave letter? I published it on the internet. It's where I decide to just like brag on. I made this decision. I can win this case on my own merits, not bragging on family. But I just decided to brag on family because I was like, you don't get it. Like, I got a lot of cool people. Like I bragged on my missionary cousins in Mexico, and I bragged on my cousin in Montana. And I bragged on my grandma teaching English as a foreign language to embassy wives, and I bragged on stuff. I bragged on a lot of stuff. I bragged on my dad being too cool for a desk job. Man, okay, I think that was enough. We did enough. That was good. Thanks. Peace out, clatsop DA. Peace.